Good morning, everyone. My name is Megan, and I live in the north in Canada. It's a little bit cold here this morning. You see me shivering, that's why. We just had snow a few days ago. We are just about to start into our gardening season for the year, so I thought it would be fun to give you a bit of background. It's been kind of different, the weather, the last few years, but growing up, I was in Zone 5B. Now, currently, I think we are Zone 6A. I grew up on a family farm in which we grew roses. There were always gardens on our property, vegetable gardens, flower garden. I also grew up helping my grandparents a little bit on their fruit farm. And so gardening's always been something that has been a part of my life. So fast forward a number of years, I am now married with children. This is Maple, by the way. I'm sure you will see her on more videos. We live on 40 plus acres here, and it's a bit of work. So this morning I thought I would just take you along to give you a bit of a bird's eye view of what I'm working with here, what the gardens currently look like. My gardens are by no means extensive. I'm not a fancy gardener. We are definitely living on a budget. So anything that I'm doing here is just going to be for the everyday gardener. If I'm planting trees, I'm not going to be planting 12, 10, 8, even 8-foot trees because it's just too expensive. So to give you a bit of overview of our property, I think they built our house in the middle of a farmer's field. I feel like in many ways I'm kind of starting from scratch on the gardens. If this interests you at all, you will consider subscribing. So let's take a look at the gardens.
So I'm starting off showing you our newest garden area. This is our kitchen garden, which we started last year. We built 8 raised beds, as you can see there. Now this coming year, Lord willing, we hope to build another 4 in front, as well as 2 long and narrow beds on either side. If you can see in front of the picket fence there, I started already a no-dig flower planting area. So I hope to take you along for that as well. I'm thinking that in the back of the garden here, I'm still not 100% sure, but I'm thinking that I might someday build a garden shed centered on those middle 2 beds, and then on either side flanking that garden shed with 2 more raised beds to finish it off. The field that is located beside the kitchen garden, I have some more raised beds, and I call that my perennial area. So I'm growing things like asparagus, lovage, elderberry, berries, that kind of thing, that has gaps that come back every year, and I can dedicate that area to them. To the field, in the field directly beside that on the left there, I'm thinking of, it's hard pan clay, so it's like cement in the summer, so it's going to take a bit of work, but I'm thinking I am going to try and do the sheet mulching, just put a ton of compost on it and see if I can't start to break up the ground there, and maybe dedicate that area more towards cut flowers, even perennial cut flowers like roses and peonies. I'd love to get a large dahlia section growing there. That area really cannot be used for much anything else because it is a geothermal field. So that is my plan for that section. And that storage bin there, I'd love to paint this summer. So we'll see if we get to that. So now I'm heading in towards our backyard. As you can see, last year I added in a little arch and a few emerald green cedars just to slowly start to create a hedge. I'd really like to room in the backyard to give it more of its own little section. Monty Don's always talking about creating rooms on your property to try and section off those garden areas. So I'd love to expand this cedar hedge and start to plant limelight prime hydrangeas in front of it to create more of a wall in that area. We have the one garden here directly behind our house, which is a purely shade garden. We've got viburnum, hellebores, hostas, Solomon's seal, periwinkle, that sort of thing in this bed. And if you've noticed, I am not very good at flying drones, so if the footage is a little wonky, that is why. So now we're heading over to the sunrise garden. As you can see, we do have a pool here, and I do want to kind of create a wall around the pool as well, somehow with some kind of cedar hedge, just to differentiate between that section in the garden area. In the sunrise garden, it's part sun, part shade. So it's filled with all sorts of things. I just picked up some David Austin roses. You can see them in the pot there. I like to leave them in the pot and see if, is that where I want to keep them? My plan for this garden this year is definitely to add a lot more year-round interest. So I don't have a lot of winter interest in that garden, and I would like to do that. So taking you into the last established garden area. So this is the front garden area. It's a rocky area with a lot of spring interest in it. There's also good winter interest in here. So I'm happy with the year-round interest in this garden. The things that I would like to work on is right at the front here. I'd like to add some kind of vertical, maybe like a standard hydrangea or something like that to give it a bit of height. I'm wondering if you could give me some advice. I would love to have something with some height, maybe even like a heritage birch or a serviceberry tree. I'm a little concerned because the field that is to the right in the front of the garden there is a septic bed, and I don't want to mess around with the roots of the tree at all. So if you could give me some advice, or you have any experience in that area, please leave a comment below and let me know. My boxwood hedge is doing quite well. I was a little concerned last year that I was seeing some of the dreaded blight, but I sprayed it with some BTK, and it seemed to bounce back really great. Behind the boxwood hedge, I do have some David Austin Astacia Vi roses planted. They're going into their second year, so we'll see how they do this coming season. That is a black lace elderberry on the end here, and I know it's way too big. It's going to get way too big for that area, but I decided to plant it there anyways because I like how the burgundy plays off the blue and the green and the chartreuse colors in this bed area. So this is, this is the front garden, and I'm excited to take you along as I continue to add more garden areas and develop the gardens around our home. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you will consider subscribing, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.